Jake Paul made it official. Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. Jake Paul, guys, I'm all for fun fights. I'm all for big events. I will talk about what the fight entails. I don't think for 1 second that Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul in a boxing match is a complete mismatch on the side of Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is that much better than Jake Paul at boxing.
Almost 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous. How can you be out there claiming to want to fight the best people on the planet and then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you? That is called one thing. That's called being a bully.
What do you make of Tank versus Gervonta versus
It's a joke.
Jake Paul?
It's a joke, you know. Yeah, it's a joke. It's gonna be like Mike Tyson. It's gonna be a sparring match, and after they're gonna just steal everybody's money. Same
You
thing.
gonna watch it?
No.
Jake Paul is back in the headlines, and once again it's for the wrong reasons. During a recent interview, Jake warned people not to underestimate him, saying his power and confidence can make the difference in a showdown with Tank.
I'm fighting Gervonta Davis on
wow.
Netflix. Let's go. People think that he could actually beat me, and people think he could outbox me, and he's so powerful and this and that. That's what makes it a good fight. November 14th, Netflix.
Ryan Garcia wasted no time in firing back at Jake Paul's claims, and he was absolutely furious about it. According to Ryan, this whole thing is nothing but an insult to the sport of boxing and to real champions who actually put in the work. In another moment addressing the situation, Ryan Garcia went even deeper into why he is completely against this fight. He explained that boxing isn't a place for circus matches designed to sell pay-per-views and trick fans into believing they're watching greatness. Ryan insisted that fighters like Tank should focus on real challenges and not waste their time clashing and chasing celebrity showdowns.
Shit, bro, that's a f***ing disgrace of a fight. Yeah. You know it. Just like the Mike Tyson, low-key was a disgrace, but we accepted it, but yeah, he was 60 years old. I mean, right. The casuals don't see the weight difference. They see Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. Yeah. And if Gervonta Davis doesn't f Jake Paul, they're going to think Jake Paul is some pound-for-pound champion type of fighter. Yeah. Gervonta Davis, he's actually really small. Like, when I fought him, he's small. Yeah. So I just think it's a very unfair fight.
On the other hand, UFC legend Daniel Cormier saw things from a different perspective. Unlike most critics, Cormier didn't think this fight would necessarily be unfair. He broke it down in simple terms: Jake Paul has the size, while Gervonta Davis has the skill. In Cormier's view, that alone makes it an interesting battle. He admitted that while it's unusual, fights between skill and size often capture attention and raise curiosity.
Jake Paul made it official. Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. Jake Paul, guys, I'm all for fun fights. I'm all for big events. I will talk about what the fight entails. I don't think for 1 second that Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul in a boxing match is a complete mismatch on the side of Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is that much better than Jake Paul at boxing.
But Daniel Cormier stood alone in his defense because Shakur Stevenson came forward and completely ripped into the idea. Stevenson labeled the fight a terrible mismatch and said it was obvious that Tank Davis is now chasing money rather than legacy. For Shakur, this wasn't about skill versus size, it was about a cash grab. He criticized Davis heavily, saying that choosing to fight Jake Paul would signal that his career is taking the wrong path and that boxing deserves better than this type of matchups.
Maybe he'll fight Jake Paul instead. What do you think of that?
I think that's terrible.
Why?
I get it, because at the end of the day, it's the money business, and you want to make the most money, but from what I'm hearing, he can make more money in a fight with me, and if that's the case, why not fight me?
Sure. Do you think he beats Jake Paul?
Do I think he beats Jake? Yeah.
There's a huge size advantage, though.
It is, but I think Tank got the skills to make sure he come out on top.
Do you think that Jake has gone better?
Yeah, I think actually Jake got tremendously better from the time frame that he started till now. And in the right situation, I also could see him become a world champion.
Really?
Yeah.
Shakur Stevenson doubled down during another interview, taking his criticism to the next level. He called out Tank Davis directly, saying that stepping into the ring with Jake Paul is nothing short of disrespectful to boxing itself. According to Shakur, Tank has earned his respect in the sport, but throwing it away for a quick payday sends the wrong message to fans and fighters alike. He made it clear that boxing doesn't need sideshow fights, and Tank should carefully think before damaging his own reputation.
What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fight?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that, and he called cap on it. So if he won't call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it. I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he better be on his A game.
Eddie Hearn, one of the biggest promoters in boxing, wrapped things up with his clear stance. Hearn admitted that while the fight might attract attention and sell tickets, it's not real boxing. It's just entertainment dressed up as a sporting event. According to him, the problem is that fights like this confuse the audience and make casual fans think spectacle is the same as competition.
I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept, and that's what that is. It's a freak show, it's entertainment, it's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, you know, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round, I don't know what it is, but, you know, I understand the market and I understand this freak show, shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, but it did massive numbers.
Michael Bisping, the former UFC champion, also gave his take, and he absolutely exploded on this topic. In a heated rant, Bisping called the whole thing disgraceful, saying that it drags down both boxing and combat sports. He said that putting Tank Davis, one of boxing's pound-for-pound stars, against Jake Paul, a YouTuber with limited pro experience, is beyond ridiculous. Bisping made it clear that the matchup is designed purely for money, not competition, and fans should not let themselves be fooled by this hype.
Almost £100 weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at £200. It's still a £65 weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous. How can you be out there claiming to want to fight the best people on the planet and then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you? That is called one thing. That's called being a bully.
The passion in Bisping's words came from how dangerous he felt this fight could be. He reminded everyone that weight classes exist to protect fighters and to keep contests balanced and safe. Bisping warned that a fight between a small but elite boxer like Tank and a much larger opponent like Jake Paul could have devastating consequences. He was furious that such a fight was even being discussed.
This one's going back to Netflix on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many, many times and not knock him out, with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head, and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could, it's dangerous.
Bisping didn't stop there. He had a personal message for Jake Paul. He told Jake that chasing fights like this doesn't build his credibility, it destroys it. According to Bisping, fans want to respect Jake for taking on real boxers, but calling out Tank Davis is the wrong move. He said that if Jake keeps picking fights that don't make sense, he will lose what little respect he's built in the fighting community. In Bisping's words, Jake risks becoming a parody instead of a real fighter.
What are you doing? What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone on the planet to look at you and take you seriously and give you credit as a boxer, you have to take on challenges that are real. You have to go up against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real. Not going up against someone that is so small. If you were to go up to this guy in a bar and try and start a fight with them, people would look at you and say one word: whoa, 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 stop being such a bully. Leave him alone. You are way bigger than this guy. And that's clearly what we have here.
Dylan Dennis never one to held back down, went even harder on Jake Paul. In his usual brutal style, Dennis accused Jake of blatantly stealing money from the fans by promoting such a fight. He claimed that Jake isn't really interested in boxing anymore, it's all about cashing in on big names and tricking audiences into paying. For Dennis, this fight is proof that Jake Paul doesn't take boxing seriously and that everything he does inside the ring is more about profit than performance.
What do you make of Tank versus Gervonta?
It's a joke. It's a joke, you know. Yeah, it's a joke. It's gonna be like Mike Tyson. It's gonna be a sparring match, and after they're gonna just steal everybody's money. Same thing.
You gonna watch it?
No.
Brandon Schwab also came forward and supported Dylan Dennis' perspective. The former UFC fighter called Jake Paul versus Tank Davis a complete joke, nothing more than a quick payday for both men. He said Jake and Tank would laugh their way to the bank while real fighters struggle for opportunities.
Gervonta Davis's guarantee.
I call bull.
Me too.
I call bullshit.
$200 million is a lot of money.
That'd be the most any athlete's ever made in one event, in one night. Where are they getting that money?
I mean, it's Netflix.
Okay. Mike Tyson didn't make that. Jake Paul didn't make that.
No. 20 million, I would believe, not 200 million.
20 million seems realistic.
That's a lot.
Even because Netflix is bigger, but there's no pay-per-view model. So, and Gervonta is a big pay-per-view draw, especially for being a lighter weight class.
Yeah.
So 20 to even 40 I can get.
Oof, that's a lot.
40 I can understand.
When push comes to shove, though, you know, like 20.
Like Canelo's getting that 40.
Yeah.
But Gervonta Davis, he was, especially on Showtime, he was a big pay-per-view star.
Yeah.
He's a knockout artist. 200 mil is just completely false.
God, Jake is so much bigger.
Yeah, man.
I mean, so much bigger.
I don't get it. If he thinks this is going to make him legitimate in boxing, I just don't get why he do it.
Colby Covington, always outspoken, added more fuel to the fire with his harsh comments. He said that if this fight actually happens, it would be a slap in the face to the entire fighting community, while Jake Paul is trying to buy his way in with publicity stunts. He argued that Tank Davis has nothing to gain by fighting Jake, but everything to lose, and that makes the matchup insulting to the sport.
Today we're going to talk about the boxing world and another fight that Jake Paul just booked for his joke of a career against a 65-plus smaller guy than him in Gervonta Davis. Jake Paul is a circus sideshow for low IQ incels. Nobody should be falling for this carny bullshit about him being a real fighter. Gervonta is a million times better than him, so he has to handicap Gervonta's skill by being a giant lab rat with a 65-plus weight advantage over him. This is a joke. This is a mockery to the sport of fighting. You know, the best are supposed to fight the best. Why is he fighting a guy that's, you know, in his last fight, Mike Tyson, who, you know, he's got a 40-year age gap between them? You know, why are you fighting a guy that should be in line for, you know, the early bird special, not fighting in a boxing ring and Mike Tyson? Now you're fighting a guy who is, you know, tiny. He's a 130-pound fighter. You fight in the 210, 220 weight range. So, you know, this is another joke in Jake Paul's career. You know, he claims to want to be a real fighter, but, you know, he's not taking the real steps to be real fighters and fighting, you know, top 10 guys and fighting the best guys in the world. You know, he fights, you know, these circus sideshows against guys that have no business being in there against him. So, you know, I guess this is the state of boxing. It's dead. UFC took over, and, you know, this is what you get now. You get this YouTuber who, you know, is on Lizzie McGuire, and he wants to claim to be a real fighter, but he doesn't want to fight real fighters. So, you know, I think it's ironic, though. Why would he hire a lawyer to sue people that say that his fights are fixed if they weren't, allegedly? So, I don't know. It's kind of weird. You guys do the math. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Carl Frog also weighed in with a strong opinion, agreeing that this fight should never even be allowed. The former world champion said that fights like this aren't what true boxing fans want to see. He believes boxing is about competition, legacy, and skill, not entertainment stunts. Frog warned that if promoters continue to push circus matchups, fans will start turning away from the sport. For him, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis is simply unacceptable and dangerous for boxing's long-term credibility.
Just here at Los Naranjos in Viva, España, and I found out that Gervonta Davis is now fighting Jake Paul. So Jake Paul was supposed to be fighting AJ. Eddie Hearn announced 99% done, which we've just spoke about. What next for AJ? Potentially Jake Paul. But it now looks like that Jake Paul is fighting one of Anthony Joshua's legs. He's fighting Gervonta Davis, somebody who's a quarter of his size. I don't even know what's going on. Has Eddie Hearn been played? Let me know what you think, but the AJ fight with Jake Paul's finished. Gervonta Davis, fake Paul, November, I don't know what's going on in the world of boxing. This is an absolute joke. What next for AJ? We'll get into this, and there's so many questions I want to get into.
Rolly Romero also joined the list of critics, pointing straight to the size difference as the biggest issue. He explained that Jake Paul is naturally much bigger, stronger, and heavier, while Tank has built his career at lightweight. Rolly believes it's dangerous to overlook this fact because boxing is not just about skill, it's about weight classes for a reason. For him, this fight simply doesn't make sense. He argued that it doesn't prove anything for Jake or Tank and only creates unnecessary risk.
I mean, a lot of things can happen. I mean, Jake Paul might be too big for him, but like, Jake Paul might be too big for him, or Tank might crack him. You don't know. Like I said, or it's an exhibition. We don't know if they throw at each other or not. Or
drop your thoughts in the comments below, and do you think Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis is pure nonsense, or is there something to it? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next updates.